Within the ancient order of the Harbingers, every member knows two prophecies, two eventualities, one of peace and one of doom. Only one of these foretellings may prove true, but not even the gods know which. And so the Harbingers fight, seeking always to stand against the darkness and be heralds of the times of peace. Yet always the shadow lurks. Doom is waiting, biding its time, assured of its own inevitability, prowling like a great cat ready to strike, hanging from above like a blade on a thread. Doom, they tell themselves. Doom is coming, and only they may stop it. But to fight an enemy, you must know them. And so they recite the prophecy of doom.
I shall not see a world that will be dear to me. Summer without flowers, cows without milk, folk without conscience, warriors not brave.
Conquests without a king.
Woods without fruit, fishless seas, multitudes of storms.
Bad judgments by old men, false precedents of the lawgivers, forts barren of structures, hollow.
A stronghold coming from mistakes, a devastated time. An excess of lords, but too many homeless.
Joy in evil, covered in sorrow. Everyone a betrayer, each child a robber. Oh, evil time. Son will deceive father, daughter will deceive mother.
Ahoy and welcome everyone. Welcome to Harbingers, a Horizons Call game. I am Derek Sword. I am your GM for this game. Yes, Sword is my real last name. Yes, it's awesome. No, you can't have it. I'm back, baby. I'm back 2 games in a row. Let's do this. But hey, I have some new wonderful folks joining me this time. Some faces I have never played with before. Some faces that I can't seem to get away from. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm going to go around and have these lovely people say a little bit about themselves, and then we'll intro this game, have a lot of fun, and see where these things go. But I do want to say one thing before all of that, is that these wonderful folks were charitable enough to, in lieu of any type of financial support towards themselves, use this game to support a wonderful cause. This game is in support of the Entertainment Community Fund. I literally had it pulled up. Why did it go away? The cause that they have chosen to support, I believe, used to be the Actors Fund. And it basically goes, anything that you are able and willing to donate, both those things are important, both factors important together, goes to support actors, tech people, producers, anybody within the realm of theater, when film, and in all of those areas, to support them during times of financial turmoil. We all know that during the COVID pandemic, not that it's necessarily over, but during the height of it, theaters had to shut down. Actors were kind of left to their own devices, as well as production people as well. And the Entertainment Fund steps in to help those people to make sure that the show can go on, that those people are not left alone in those times. So anything, again, that you are willing and able to donate goes directly towards that organization, and also can impact this game. You can find all the details on the Tiltify in our chat, but essentially you can give advantages, you can give crits, group advantages, group crits, or you can complicate things for these lovely players. And I'm not going to sing a sea shanty for this game. That's it's not something. I'll find something else to do, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll tar and feather myself. Who knows? But yes, the Entertainment Community Fund is a great organization. Please consider supporting. And like I said, if you do, you can impact this game as well. Okay. Let's go around, have these lovely people say a little bit about themselves and potentially even their characters. So, Gena, you are first on the screen for me, if you don't mind starting us out.
Oh no, Hi, I'm Gena. That's she, her. You last seen me here on what was it, our Invisible Sun campaign? I'm back. I'm playing another floaty-haired girl. Just so you know, that's all I'm giving you right now.
Fair enough. Love somebody that knows what they want. Yeah, love a person that has a character concept and sticks with it. Fantastic. Thank you, Gina. Next up, we have Rack.
Hello, everyone. I am Rakolai, or Rakolai. I don't really have a preference. That's it. I'm just glad that you're all here, and thanks for showing up. Looking forward to playing with these people.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rack. Next up, the one and only LD.
Oh, hey, that's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Lady Dame, or LE, or LD. LE, who? Nope, LD. I'm the reason that we're doing the Entertainment Community Fund as somebody who is a member of the arts entertainment community and a technician myself. I really appreciate anybody who's willing to donate to it. They also help out. They not only got a lot of my community through the COVID shutdown, but they also have an ongoing thing where they help seniors, given that our retirement plans as actors and performers and technicians tends to be mostly passing away in the theater and then haunting them. So yeah. So anyway, anything that you can do to help would be really helpful. Would be wonderful and very much appreciated. But today I'm playing the one, the only, the whole reason that we're doing this because I made Derek do it. Fia of the Rowan, our resident Harpy blood hunter. Yep, it's fine. Okay, here we go.
It didn't take much to talk me into this.
I know.
I really do want now the Entertainment Community Fund to have little Ghostbuster patches that just say "Stop Theater Ghosts." Theaters are chock full of enough ghosts already. We don't need more of them. Next up, Alex.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex, and I am thrilled to be joining my fellow Harbies today. And tonight I am playing Desiree, the Drow Fighter.
Yes, I do remember now that Alex's intro was labeled Harby, which I thought at the time was a misspelling, and now I know better.
Nope.
Awesome. All right. Well, RB stands for roast beef. I don't want to know what Harby stands for, but I'm sure we'll find out. Last but absolutely not least, Abhishek.
Thought I muted. Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Batange. I am thrilled to be a part of this cast, and I will be playing Anubia. Our very first, I think the world's very first Kenra played Kenra in this. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be playing Anubia, a Kenra monk, way of the living weapon. So, all you need to know is that she is very tall, and she is, she's buff. Yeah.
Oh, we
Fantastic.
do have a tall cast member. That's exciting.
We have one. Yes.
We have one.
Yes, and thank you as always, as I constantly butcher the intonation on Abhishek's name. Thank you for sticking around. Yes, no, much as LD was the first, with Fia was the first Harpy in Horizon's Call, Abhishek has been the first Kenra, first Anubite. So I love when people choose the non-standard stuff and go experiment with it. It's fantastic. Actually, a lot of you are, I think all of you are the first of everything. It's first Drow, first Air Genasi, and first Kenku. So congratulations to all of you for not repeating a single damn thing. That's a lovely thing about having so many options.
And our first Drow or player Drow?
Correct. Yes. First Drow, first Air Genasi, first Kenku.
Heck
First,
yeah.
first of everything. Yeah. Okay. For those of you who might be joining us for the first time and are not familiar with the world of Horizon's Call, the world of Horizon's Call is called Domaris. It is an oceanic world. It is one of swashbuckling adventure, Thalassian terror, and high seas heroics. It is a world of great history, where wind and tide can determine life and death, where sailors will navigate their journeys and live their lives by the stars, and where the greatest of folk can rise from the meager salt. It was not always an oceanic world, a world of sea and sail. Millennia ago, the world of Demaros was green and verdant as many worlds are. Sprawling continents separated by navigable seas were the mainstay, and kingdoms and empires clashed as they will over the same things that they always do, while the common people lived their lives in accordance with what they felt was right and good. Then, from seemingly nowhere, to this day, it is unknown where the calamity came from, but the Great Deluge, a massive wave as tall as the sky, crashed down, changing the world forever. There are theories about where the deluge came from, absolutely, but scholars still have only theories. With these titanic waves, with the heights reaching the clouds themselves, the world was engulfed in a drowning hunger. Entire continents were snuffed out in seconds, whole kingdoms erased from existence, and populations decimated in its unending wake. But this was not the end. As the waves receded, what were once hills and mountains became islands. Massive archipelago dotted a blue map, and this, what once was a world of sprawling continents, became a world of islands, sail, and sea. The peoples that endured from the devastation rose again, and when they looked out in the new world, their eyes turned to the horizon. They built ships and ports and forged their lives anew, with now endless ocean promising unlimited possibilities. And ages later, kingdoms and empires of what became known as the surfacers, those who live above the water, have resumed their place as they seek to dominate wind and tide and master the seas themselves. While others have turned to the sea for trade and adventure, a ship is always a precious thing. Having one means freedom unlike any other. And those who sail must have courage, for the seas are always wide and are far from empty. In truth, Damaris is a world divided by the horizon. Above the waves, people voyage across the brine in search of gold and glory, but beneath the waves, another story remains. Similar, but different. In the wide oceans of Damaris reside the denizens, as they are known. Multitudinous peoples, creatures, and beings that make their homes within the blue. When the Great Deluge occurred, they also felt its ripple, their homelands expanding far beyond what any of them had imagined, and within the new waters were ruins of the old surface world. Now, as above, so below. Kingdoms and empires of the denizens have their own wars and struggles, while again the common peoples have turned to exploration and advancement, and always doing what they deem to be right and good. All of this adds to the never-ending story of Damaris, as we here today will add to the never-ending story of Damaris. Damaris is, at its core, a world of possibilities, a world where even the stars above sing and the horizon itself calls to the hearts of adventurers. In this world of timber, sail, salt, and tide, who do we have here? What adventures will they tell? Where will they go? Thanks for joining us, we find out. Our particular story goes to the southwestern hemisphere of Damaris, a smaller island by comparison, but sizable nonetheless. An island known as Raven Rock. An island given this name for the large population of corvids that seem to dot its grassy landscape, but also for the sheer crumbling black rock that makes up its heights. It is an island of chasms and cliffs and rather inhospitable to look at. And to many might just be a stopping point for fresh water. A few small communities reside there, fishing villages. But most are unaware of its true purpose. Deep within one of the crevices, one of the unwieldy bays full of sharp rocks and ripping tides, is a castle built into the very face of the rock itself, near subterranean but facing outwards so that the salty air is always carving just a little bit more at that crumbling rock. This is the Oraculum. This is the keep of the Harbingers, one of them at least. The Harbingers is an ancient order built of three in service to the Morrigan, or some say the Raven Queen, or some say the Fates themselves, perhaps the Furies. No one's exactly sure. Even within the Harbingers themselves, they have disagreements. But the Harbingers believe in two things, two prophecies that were handed to them in ancient times. And again, disagreements on where those prophecies came from. There is the prophecy of peace. The prophecy that things will be pleasant. That there will come a time where swords are buried and plowshares are utilized and No one ever goes hungry. Songs are sung. And there's peace. Then there is the prophecy of doom. Prophecy that says that peace will never come. That in the end of all things we will turn on each other. Brother against brother, sister against sister, child against parent. That the beings of Damaris are bound, cursed in a way, to know this fate. It is the Harbingers' goal in the world of Damaris, their secretive goal, though they themselves are not necessarily secret, to keep the prophecy of doom at bay, to always fight every day for the prophecy of peace. And as we look towards the oraculum, a storm raging all around at this time of night where the moon is just carving through into the black halls, we see an owlin. He is currently walking rather stiltly. It's an aged owlin. There's still color in his feathers, and yet you can tell that the years have taken their toll. He walks through the hall known as Black Moon Hall. And as he does, you can see as he takes a small pouch from his belt. And he walks to a small circular table in what is otherwise a candle-lit circular room. There are several chairs around this table, enough to fit probably 12 individuals. Table itself seems carved from the same stone as the hall, and the owlin pulls a cloak tightly about him. He takes from the pouch, as he sits, several bones, takes them in his clawed hands, shakes them, rattling them like rolling dice, and tosses them, scattering them across the table. For a moment, his eyes narrow in the light, taking in all of the very finely carved sigils and symbols on these bones. Bones from a variety of different animals, some from much larger animals that have been carved down or worn away over time. He scowls slightly, picks them up, shakes them again, rattles them again. The brow furrows further. He goes to another nearby table that is scattered with maps and books and pulls out a map of Damaris. Carefully, he charts what he sees the bones telling him. He compares it against an old text, an old tome that he flips about and makes sure that he has the runes correct, because these are not runes he has seen for a very long time. One last time, he picks up the bones, shakes them, scatters them across. And then he starts to cough. Starts to choke even. His claw goes to his throat, and as he lurches and hacks, his mouth opens and a single small bone flies from his beaked mouth, landing squarely in the center of all the others. He looks very carefully at it, picks it up, twists it around. I've never seen that before. Very well then, and he looks up. I hear you. And with that, he shuts the book, places the bones back in his pouch, holding on to the extra one, and shuffles back off into the darkness towards his room. We pick up the next day in the Oraculum, Black Moon Hall, a place that is a barracks for the Harbingers, a stopping point, a home to many. Let's go ahead and go around. If you would like to describe your character, what they might be up to, as morning arrives in Black Moon Hall, a hall that is itself a sort of village as well. So you do have a smithy, you have a potioner, you have almost anything that you could think of to support an organization of well over 200 members of the Harbingers who might be here at any point in time. So, Gena, as we bring the morning to Saskia, where might we find her? Where might we find them? What might they be up to?
If it's just morning, I think she'll be taking a morning smoke break. She takes an obnoxiously long morning smoke break, actually. It's the first thing she does. She's very much like a coffee and cigarette type of breakfast person. She is an Air Genasi, like pale blue skin, very like light silver eyes that are almost white, so they almost match the rest of her eye, and her hair is a sort of blue that floats in the air, very airy, and she has her, it's not one of those really long church warden ones, but it's still a decently long pipe, and it's just the longest 5-minute exhale, like full cloud, sort of looking off into, I guess she's on some sort of like stone pathway somewhere, I'm not sure. She's got a really long scar that goes up almost all the way up to her cheekbone. Yeah, that's what's called a cheekbone. And I think that's just what she's doing, just sort of morning has just started and she already seems very tired. That's what we're up to here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of windows that face outwards without glass in them. This kind of hull that's built into the rock face that you can just stand on these balconies or these stairways. And absolutely, there are other members of the order who just pass by and let you have your morning allowance. Not a lot of attention is necessarily given up until a small kenku runs up to you and tugs at your shirt.
Yes, darling. What do you want?
It opens its beak, and from within, the voice of the head haruspex of this oraculum speaks to you. Evander Acreus, the owland we saw at the beginning. And in his voice, he says, Saskia, you are required to meet in the main hall at noon. And stop smoking. It's bad for your health.
Oh, she ignores this every time. Every time she's told, no, she's not going to stop smoking. I'll be along.
The Kenku, makes the signal, got a drag?
Yeah. I'll offer.
Nice. And with cigarette in claw, the Kenku goes running off. Speaking of Kenku, Rack, where would we find Croak on a morning such as this? A stormy morning, I should say.
Once I've unmuted my mic, I think outside you would see one of the big trees in the courtyard, just full of corvids of all kinds, ravens, magpies, crows, just chilling out in the trees. These birds is a little different. It's bigger than the others, dressed in dark leathers, a necklace adorned with raven feathers. There's a short sword strapped to their hip, a quiver of arrows on their back, and a short bow alongside it. This is Croak, the Kenku. And he is just sitting on a branch, hanging out with the birds.
Okay. Another Kenku comes up from the lower halls onto the sort of the plateau where the trees actually grow on this island, and kind of pulling his own cloak over him and kind of wincing up at the rain that you're just sitting out in with all of the birds, comes padding up to you, and in a little Kenku voice. Well, I guess in the Kenku voice that has the voice of your Haruspecs Evander, you hear, "Croak, come to the main hall, noon. Get out of the rain. It's bad for your health."
Croak will look down from under his hood and tilt his head and open his own beak and reply, "Main hall, noon." And then give a nod. And then I think you would see some of the other ravens that are in the branches with him have also turned to look down at the Kenku. And these ravens, sometimes you'll see like little wisps of black smoke drift off of them. They seem a little less corporeal than the other birds sitting in the branches. And if you look closely, you would see that their eyes are like glowing this ethereal blue as they sit in the branches with him. And then some of them open their mouths and they say, "Main hall, noon. Main hall, noon. Main hall, noon."
The Kenku takes a long drag of the cigarette, which thinking about a bird with a cigarette is an odd thought, but then it just puffs out and goes, "Weird birds." And then turns around and goes, "Not my problem." And goes padding back inside. Fia, perhaps having relatively recently returned, where might we find you on a morning like this?
Oh yeah, Fia has probably been back here for, I would say, less than a day. Like she got in that night, is my guess.
Okay.
Fia is often found at the highest point that she can possibly get away with. Still sleeping, most likely. She tends to, while she's here in the hall, she tends to make herself fairly inaccessible as much as possible because she tries not to get beckoned until she's like ready to go somewhere. So yeah, she's got a place that is well known to be her spot, her room, as you will, in this place in Raven Rock. But yeah, and it is high and out of the way, and she is definitely still asleep.
Right. Yeah, there are a couple of options. There is a watchtower which extends upwards. It's not necessarily a lighthouse because you're kind of set into a canyon, and if a ship is this close anyway, a lighthouse does them no good. But there is at least kind of, a sort of watchtower area. There's also just like along this canyon, higher kind of peaks of rock, one of which you could have easily have just, carved out a little overhang. It's not necessarily a room, but it at least keeps the rain off of you and would be a little perch. So, or you're welcome to create your own, but how accessible might you be? I guess is what I'm asking.
I totally got distracted by something while you were speaking. I will be
You're okay.
100% honest. I was trying.
Okay.
I was
so watchtower
conspiring.
that's kind of built up a little bit, or there's also like a peak of rock in the canyon
probably
itself.
The peak of it would be probably in the peak of rock. Now the inside is very cozy and nesty, I will say.
Okay.
There's blankets and things like that. It just is,
okay.
Yeah.
So something you might have like found that's just hollowed out enough, and you have your own little space in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Great. Are you up at this hour, or is it like a leave me alone, let me sleep in, I just got back sort of deal?
I am not up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess let's do a roll. Give me a perception check with disadvantage.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. With disadvantage, it's a 28.
Okay. It is. That's insane. It is.
I rolled an 18 and a 19.
The first thing that jolts you awake is the smell of smoke, and then the knowledge that there is something scratching at the outside rock of your kind of like little hidey hole, your little harpy hole.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to do anything to see what that is, or are you going to prepare a whip attack for whatever is coming in? What would you like to do?
This is probably how she's been woken up before, I'm guessing. She sort of shoves a bunch of blankets to the side, and sort of buries a thing, and then goes to the entrance.
Okay. And like scurrying up the rock is this Kenku, cigarette still in beak, covered in like just soaked with rain.
Mm-hmm.
As
also, the wings are extended like full behind her to make herself look as big and scary as she can.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I mean, free climbing this rock face, this Kenku kind of looks up at you and just scowls, and out of its voice again, the voice of Evander. Fia, main hall, noon. Welcome back. Don't sleep in too much; it's bad for your health. And the Kenku just lets go and starts sliding down.
Son of a bitch. What time is it? It's early right now?
Yeah, we're talking like a little bit after dawn.
Okay. She goes back in and like to the cave and curls up.
Does a day. Where might we find you?
So far earlier in the morning, around the time that most people would be getting up, I would already have left Fia's room and headed into, is there any kind of like sparring chamber or ring?
1000%, yeah.
Okay. If anyone else is as dysfunctional so as to be using that facility in the morning, I would attempt to rope them into some kind of a spar. If not, I am standing in the middle of an assumedly empty ring, fighting a translucent copy of myself.
Okay. I think early on, there's a couple of like, early birds such as yourself, no pun intended for Fia or Croak, who like there's a dwarf, Altor, who tends to get up as well and does a little bit of weapon practice, but breakfast is breakfast. And you even have Yonti Pureblood, Alyssa, who tends to get up, but before long you are left to your shadow. What would that look like to other people? Would it just look like you're shadow boxing, for lack of a better word? But would it look like you are fighting something physical?
It would look like I am fighting something that is like mostly physical. It is like a detailed textured shadow. So it is a grayscale translucent copy of myself. You can see features like eyes and hair and, essentially a mirror of the outfit that I am wearing. But it is like still like you can see through it, and it's mostly just like a grayscale wisp.
Enough to be like a trick of the light if somebody just like looked past.
Exactly. Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Same Kenku. Trying to dry itself out at this point, like shake off its clothing, leaving puddles literally with every step, comes plopping into the room. And again, the mouth opens. Desiday? You're expected to be at the main hall at noon. I need you to repeat that.
I will be at the main hall at noon.
I'm hoping you repeat it. I can't actually check through the Kenku, but okay. Stop fighting yourself. It's bad for your health.
I was just about to fill that in, but then like Kenku beat me to it, so just nod.
Yeah, the Kenku like takes a long drag of the cigarette and looks at you and goes, "Don't tell nobody."
I would never enjoy your smoke.
Last but not least, Anubia, where might we find you this morning?
So funny that Alex mentioned the sparring hall because that is exactly where Anubia would be.
Okay, all right. I'll let you describe your character, but the Kenku just kind of spins around and goes, "Oh, thank God!" So what would we see when we saw Anubia also in the sparring arena?
So yeah, Anubia, she's basically she's already woken up, had her breakfast, kind of smoothed out any kind of eye bags and stuff like that she might have gotten while sleeping, but sleek black fur, her ears are still mainly not too crumpled, but they're staying at attention. But you can see her sort of practicing her forms, honestly, and it's almost, to the onlooker, it almost looks like a dance, almost like very, very, very lethal dance, no less, but a dance nonetheless.
All right.
But yeah, as she's practicing, she almost doesn't really notice Desiree if they enter at some point, but she's that pretty much lost in practice. So
Okay. The Kenku comes up to you. Do I have to repeat myself?
she'll stop momentarily and sort of look. No, I heard you. Noon, main hall, be there.
That's correct. You got it. And the Kenku just goes walking out. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I forgot one thing. Something. Your health. Sorry, couldn't remember that one. And the Kenku scurries off. So as the morning goes on, you have a couple hours. What would you all like to do with this time? You might know, well, at least two of you know that you are both being summoned to the hall at the same time, which you would reasonably know means you are going to be deployed. Reasonably also figuring together. So at least for Desiree and Anubia, you two are going on a mission together. Chances are there's at least one more individual. But for the rest of you, those of you, whether you were sleeping or not, what would the rest of the morning look like before we reach noon?
I would probably have slept in a little bit longer for like maybe another hour, maybe two, and then gone in search of my mother briefly, just to check in and say hi since it's been a minute since I've stopped in. And I got in late last night.
Okay. You find her where you would expect her, in her room. Rooms is probably the better term.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah, she as an esteemed member of an esteemed oracle of the Harbingers is granted with a suite. And it is a decadent one. Not gaudy by any means, but comfortable, certainly. Lots of plush, lots of mirrors,
She's
clothing.
getting soft up in here. Truly.
She did her time. Are you knocking? Are you walking right in?
Oh, I'm just walking right in.
Okay. And you would find her sitting at a desk, her wings folded behind her, your mother a harpy, just as you are. Writing in a large book with an inkwell. And she doesn't even look up. Welcome back.
What are you doing at a desk? You've gone soft, your mother.
Do you expect me to write just standing up?
Well, no, but it's weird to see her writing at all, frankly.
Some things I can't commit to memory anymore. Let's put it that way.
Ugh. How are you? And I give her a kiss on the cheek.
And she kisses your cheek back as you do. About as well as can be expected. You're back sooner than I thought you'd be.
I did what I set out to do and figured it was time to come check back in. Apparently, this place can't run without me. I've already been summoned today.
Well, I've heard there's quite some hubbub coming from the Haruspecs, but that's none of my business right now.
Really? You don't know anything about it?
I know that something different happened, and Evander is practically molting over it.
Ugh. When is he not practically molting about something?
Honestly, it gets everywhere. Any news worth noting of the outside world?
Oh, the usual storm giants, dead kings, things. Oh, I got to visit the stars. That was a good time.
Oh, did you know?
Yeah. Didn't know that was something one could do, but I did it.
Was it worth doing, or are they just boring up there? I've never spoken to a star myself, so I'm not sure.
It was educational.
Fair enough.
I don't know that I understood most of what happened, but
Have you been eating?
I was in polite company. Yes, but I mean, not a proper meal. I was in polite company for far too long, if you understand.
Unfortunately, I do. Go get yourself a proper meal. You're practically wasting away.
Will do. How's Croak? Where's he at?
Oh, Croak's just lovely. He's been about everywhere, just learning everything he can. Such a joy.
Good. All right. And then
She just gives like a soft wave, not like a dismissive wave, but just like, I'm busy right now, honey. I'll talk to you later, sort of deal. What about everyone else?
I think I probably would have noticed that Anubia got a similar message to me. So I will probably approach from the side, but from a side that you can see from a way off. I'm not about to fucking tap someone on the shoulder as they're in the middle of sparring or practicing their fight moves. So I'll just approach from a very visible angle and wait till I get some acknowledgement and then just sort of nod in her direction.
Yeah, I think seeing Desiree, Anubia would sort of pause and sort of give herself a little bit of a break. Desiree.
Anubia, sounds like we have an appointment today. You have any idea what it's about?
None, unfortunately. I can only assume we'll find out when we get there. Which...
Most likely. Which means we're probably heading out soon.
Yeah.
That or we're in trouble. Hard to tell.
You never know. But knowing everything, it's probably us going out soon. I don't think I've done anything that warrants trouble. Did you?
That I often do things that warrant trouble, so it's good to hear you've kept your nose clean. It means I'm probably in the clear as well.
Good. Wondering who else will be joining us, though.
That is a good question. I'm not sure. Have you been out recently? Done anything interesting?
No, I've been stuck here for the most part. I mean, I've been doing the same old, wake up, eat, train, eat, sleep, repeat.
That is the life.
Unfortunately, but it's all we can do.
What did you do before you got here?
Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mostly wandering.
Fair enough.
What about you?
The most common word for it is piracy, I suppose.
Oh. That certainly took a turn I wasn't expecting, but I could see it.
We do what we must to survive.
Isn't that the truth?
It is until someone makes a better world, and I suppose that falls onto us. Either way, I look forward to traveling with you soon.
You as well. I'll see you in the hall.
I will see you in the hall. I'll go fuck off and do my own thing for a while.
Saskia, what would you do with the rest of your morning once your smoke break is over?
I will do my rounds in, I assume there's like an infirmary type situation.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll do, it's not very interesting. I'll do my rounds as responsible. I still have my pipe in my teeth, but it is not lit. Because, you know, I will get yelled at and I don't like dealing with that. So it is still between my teeth, very well balanced, doing my rounds, checking schedules, making sure nothing exciting has happened overnight. Shouldn't have happened overnight because, that sort of just errands.
Yeah, especially stopping by the medical wing. You would know that there is a gnome in there that just rock gnome that typically runs the place. And as you look in on Greg, I'm sorry, Gregor is his name. You're not going to add another Greg to this game. Gregor kind of looks up over one of the medical tables, shorter than a lot of them standardly are, but has enough of his little walking spaces to get around. Oh, Saskia. Morning to you.
Good morning. Everything okay out here?
Spick and span. You just doing your normal rounds then?
Yes, I have the Harus back has summoned me for a meeting, and it's at noon, so I'm just making sure that nothing interferes with that. Not that we can plan that.
You got called by the Harusbecks.
Yes, it's a whole thing.
It does, so I hear it's a whole thing. Huh.
Is there something I should know?
Well, Should? Yes. Can I tell you? Not really. But best of luck to you.
Can I suss out how bad is this? Just off the general vibe here. Is this catastrophic bad or is this just annoying bad?
Give me
Am I in
check.
trouble?
Yeah.
Oh god, my insight. Alright, let's see. That is 17.
You can tell that there's something off. It's not they planned your birthday. It's I'm not high enough up to give you the bad news or the weird news. Maybe it's not like he's sad or the facial expressions don't give off that he is overtly worried about your safety. It's more of just he's a little unsettled that he knows that you're one of the people who are being spoken to about recent events. So it's not a you thing, it's a something that happened sort of thing is kind of what you're picking up on.
Okay. I don't like those vibes, but I'm not in trouble, so we're good. Well, I'll leave you to it. Head off.
Yep. You certainly will. Okay. See me if you need anything before you leave. Anywhere else that might be part of your rounds?
Not now. I don't think she wants to spend too much time getting distracted now that she knows that there's a weird thing. So I think she's mostly just holding pattern so that nothing draws her into a whole situation before this weird meeting now. So.
I was made aware that we have 2 complications. I am not enough of a monster to give you 2 complications in one game. That's also tough to do. But we will at least have a complication in this session. We will have another one likely next session. I might just hold on to it. We'll see. Thank you for donating. Thank you for those of you who are charitable enough to ruin these people's lives. Croak, after getting your message, what might you be up to?
Having received his instructions, Croak would clamber his way down the tree, go back inside, kind of shake himself off head down to his tail, just spray water all over the doorway. And he'll probably go to the mess to get some chow before heading out.
Okay. It is probably there that you run into Fia, if Fia is actually going to eat, as she was.
I am.
Okay. I'm not your actual parent. So, Fia, you would see among the trench tables that are all kind of lined up a number of harbingers that you recognize, perhaps even some new faces, as you know these home bases, the three of them that are dotted around Damaris in that triangular pattern, are placed there for if you happen to be nearby. So you might recognize half orc that you've seen before, a couple of tieflings you've seen before, perhaps a human and an elf that you don't. But you do recognize your pseudo-sibling Croak, who comes into the hall from the opposite doorway. And Croak, you fear.
If I think I'd be carrying like I would have gotten a plate of something, generally probably raw and red and bloody or whatever, and drop it on immediately to go up and like give Croak a big bear hug.
I think when you hug him, Crow opens his beak and lets out a squeaking sound.
Croak! How are you, baby brother?
He responds in your mother's voice. Hello, dear.
Oh, now that's just weird. And then I like let go and back up a bit. How are your friends?
Weird birds.
Yes, they're very strange.
You'll probably notice that there are a number of spectral ravens that have appeared in the rafters in the mess hall, and some of them will fly down and like just settle on your shoulders.
Can I try and pet one of them, scratch one of them? I can't remember if they're actually something that I can touch or not, but I do try.
They can touch things, so I would say in this case, yeah, you can touch them.
Pseudo corporeal, like petting Jello.
So did you miss me?
Miss you.
Oh, you're the sweetest. Did you need to grab a plate? Have you eaten already? We should chat, catch up.
Catch up. And Croak will nod and kind of do his like little lilting hop that birds do over to the food line.
Mm-hmm. Like, grab a seat somewhere and like probably like push a couple people out of the way so that there's plenty of room for me and Croak to sit together.
Cool. Croak would eventually return with like probably have like a bowl of oats, some bacon, those sorts of things, and kind of hop up onto a chair and set his tray down.
So, have you been keeping busy?
Keeping busy, yes.
Got anything exciting going on? Any big missions? Come on, you can tell me everything.
I think rather than like going into like details, Croak just opens his mouth and the sounds of like sword fighting and like bows twanging would just come out from his throat. In between like bites of porridge and bacon.
That is amazing and so very cool. I am very proud of you. Now, I'm so sad though. So after all this time, I get to see you, and then I'm getting called out to like leave. I think they're gonna make me leave again, to be honest.
Tilt his head. Main hall, noon.
Oh, you too. Oh, that's grand. Well, me too. That's me. I'm going to the main hall at noon as well.
Croak doesn't really say anything, but he like kind of bobs up and down in his seat to denote excitement.
Yeah, you and me on a mission together again. Heck yeah. And she like grabs like just a hunk of meat in her claw and starts nomming on it. Yeah.
Every
I
other
think
table has
seeing this-
averted their eyes because of
Yeah.
the bird beak and the person who eats like a bird.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like a harpy.
I think seeing this, Croak would take one of his bacon strips and just like, you know how like robins will like just gulp down a whole worm without chewing. He'll just do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Truly delightful table manners Fola did not give us.
Fantastic. The morning goes on, and noon approaches. Who do you think would be first to arrive at the hall? Is anybody arriving early? Is anybody that kind of student? Okay,
Knew
Desiree.
it.
Okay. All right. A little bit of character
I'm also
bleed for
getting there a
Alex.
bit early.
Looking dweeb.
Yeah.
Okay, so Desiree, Saskia would be the first two to arrive, and you come to the main hall, the Great Hall of the Oraculum of Black Moon Hall. It's a bit of a misnomer. It is a main hall in the sense that is where the true business of the Harbingers is done. It is a great hall in the sense that if needed, it can occupy, or it can be occupied by, almost the entirety of the number of Harbingers. It is where when one is welcomed into the folds of the Harbingers, that is where the ceremony is held. And so all of you very likely have been in this room before. You've been in this room plenty of times because this is also where missions are given. And at the center of this large room, which doesn't feel as large because of the way the furniture is organized, and because of the way that the statues have a tendency to if they need to be moved, they can be moved. They don't appear as that at any given point, however. But as these large cloaked statues loom down at you, images of what some interpret to be the Morrigan as well, but symbols of the Harbingers, the golden skull emblazoned with your emblem of the Triskelion and the three ravens, sits on a pedestal. You see a circular table, again carved from the stone that the mountain itself seems made of, the cliffs themselves being made out of. Wooden chairs and candles that light this otherwise central room. There's no natural light that can be reached here. There's no skylight. There's no windows that reach outwards. You are at one of the densest central points of the hall itself. And as you walk in, there is an owlin sitting at the 12 o'clock of this table. One you would recognize as the Harrowspecks of your order. The Harrowspecks being the High Oracle. Not necessarily the most... they're not in charge in that sense. There's no true leader of the Harbingers. There are those who get higher in the order and gain esteem, much as Fia's mother has, and gain benefits from that. But the Harrowspecks is as close to the leader as you are going to get, because they're the ones who read the bones, they're the ones who read the signs, and who use their oracle skills, their augury, to determine where the Harbingers are meant to be, where they are meant to go, and what they are meant to do, if it can be determined. And on the table are maps, books. Many books are laid out, all to different pages of various different writings. A map at the center, which has little little pewter pieces on it. And again, Evander, the aging owlin, looks up at you blinkingly. Ah, welcome. Take your seats, please. Who would be next to come in? Probably Anubia? Okay. And then with Fia and Croak probably coming in last, smelling of bacon and raw meat.
The only reason Fia is not late is because she's with Croak.
Okay. I was going to say Croak would have probably been earlier if not for Fia. You all sit at a table with more chairs than are required for the total 6 of you. Evander doesn't necessarily look around all of you. His eyes are very focused on a book that is opened in front of him that has a series of circular sigils on it, and a small pile of augury bones that he has placed. Welcome, all of you. An odd thing happened last night. A thing I have not happened before in all of my years as a Haruspex. I found an extra bone. Shouldn't have an extra bone. This pouch, and he holds up the empty pouch, has only so many bones. I know how many bones are in it. But then I found an extra bone. Shouldn't be finding an extra bone. But what that bone said is that I needed extra bones. More or less. And so I called your bones here. And the rest of you came as well. There is a problem. I don't know what, but I know where. And I need all of you to go and do what you do in service to our order. I wouldn't ask all of you if the bones didn't tell me to, but they told me to. 3 times. 3 times I throw the bones, every time 3 times. And 3 times they said, each and every one of you. Couldn't tell you why. Never happened before. Extra bones. But the extra bones said 5 of you.
And
5's not a good number. Sorry, Ifia, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine. And it said the 5 of us specifically.
I did. I have a bone
Even
for
with-
every... Go ahead.
I was going to say, even with Desidee's ailment.
Looks down, squints at Desidee. You sick?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, so you got the giant stick up your ass removed.
No, that's still there.
Oh,
Go see
pity.
Gregor. It's bad for your health.
Fine.
I'll see what he can do about it.
Anyway. Sticks being up your assholes regardless. The bones said each and every one of you. I've got a sight of these bones for every member of my order. Every member that I send out. And the bones said you. It points at each of you. It said Saskia, it said Fia, it said Desidee, Anubia, and it said Croak. 5 of you. I don't like the number 5. 5 scares me. 3, I like 3. 2, I can deal with 2. 1, perfect. 5, fuck that. I don't know why there's an extra bone. I'm mad about it. But the bones said you. So go do it, or the bones are going to be pissed. And I don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that.
I'm sorry. What exactly is it that we're doing? Like, I know
right.
you're not very clear at the in general these things, but it would help to know a destination of some sort.
Sorry, I always forget that nobody can see all the things that I see. You all are going to be sailing a bit. You're going to be sailing to Lymeria. Waiting for questions. I'll talk slower if I have to.
Does that place name mean anything to me?
If you would like to know about Lymeria, roll me a history check.
I would
Okay.
like to do that too.
I don't know why that was
Same
sing-song.
here.
That goes for everybody. Yeah, if you would like to see what you recall about Lymeria, you may roll a history check.
Dirty 20 on my end.
Fantastic.
Oh no.
Nah, she's just gonna wait for anything relevant.
A natural 20 for me.
All right.
Roll the 7.
That's a 9.
Okay.
Heck yeah, coach. 100.
feast or famine here. For those of you with above those 20s, I think everybody else was a little not exactly sure. You've at least heard of the island. It is, again, relatively a larger island. It is not. It's probably like in the lower medium. It's the medium rare of islands. Um, but Lymeria rests in the Sunbirth Sea. It is the far eastern sea in the southeastern hemisphere of Damaris. Um, it's separated from a lot of the larger islands, and because of that, has a very interesting level of trade to it, a very interesting culture to it, because the culture isn't often impacted by other cultures. A lot of the other islands are just waypoints. Some of them are waypoints for pirating islands. Yeah, Lymeria, if you are looking at the map on Roll20, is this kind of, yes, everybody pinged it. The one just to the east of Mayor's Mercy. Yes, named for that mayor. So it is the weird thing about it is it's not heavily populated towards the center. It is essentially a jungle island. Most communities live on the coast with, it's said that like the denser jungles, the denser forested areas have some isolated populations, but they don't really interact with one another. Those are the coastal populations. The coastal populations engage with a lot of trade with the nearby islands. There are a number of exotic, what is considered at least exotic, fruits and vegetables and even fauna that can be hunted there, skins hunting. A big thing that Lymeria is popular for are ruins. There are said to be just countless ruins towards the center of the island, which are just all overgrown by the jungle, but it's said that there is ancient magic there, ancient treasure. Also, Lymeria is important as the home island of Alafi. Alafi are half snake people, so not necessarily Yuan-Ti, but like upper half human, or at least humanoid. They might be a little scalar, might be full snake, but then their back half, much like a centaur is a horse, their back half is a like 10-foot snake serpent body. If you've ever seen Shadow's character, that was in one of our one-shots, that is in Alafi. So the island has a large population of Alafi, as well as Grung, the like poisonous frog people, Tabaxi, the cat people, turtles, lizard folk. There are Yuan-Ti. They typically go around any place where other scaled beings tend to live. Humanoids, certainly. Goblinoids, wood elves are popular there too. Those are the, again, quote unquote, civilized peoples. And then further in, there's said to be jungle giants, potentially even populations of were-tigers, naga, and a lot of things that are significantly worse than all of those at the denser points of the jungle. Because you both got 20 or above, there's also one important historical piece about Lymeria that kind of gets tied into its history. And I apologize for how much lore dropping, but we did get over 20. The Nerian Empire, the big empire of Damaris, the what I use is a mixture of the Roman and English empires combined, but somehow worse, once invaded Lymeria, once tried to take over Lymeria because they were trying to basically get the entire eastern hemisphere of Damaris under their control. They lost a legion. The 99th Legion was lost to the jungles and were never seen again. And that is kind of one of the big myths about Lymeria, is what happened to the 99th Legion. Essentially, the Nerian Empire cut their losses after they kept losing more and more to the jungle. But the fact that they lost an entire legion and no one knows what happened to them is one of those mysterious things that, like, when adventurers do go into the jungle, some of them are looking for ruins, some of them are looking for treasure, ancient magics, some of them are looking for what remains of the 99th Legion. That if they can bring back, like, the banner of the 99th Legion, they could actually get like treasure from the Nerian Empire, because it would solve that mystery. So, all that said, that's what you would know about Lymeria. And Evander looks to all of you. I have it under... Well, the bones told me. I'll just go with that. I believe the Starfall Communion has pockets rising again. I believe that they are trying to find something on Lymeria to give themselves a bit of power. I have received correspondence from one of our scouts there, and you can meet up with him. But I believe that is where you all are needed. That is what I have been told. That is what I am telling you. Go there, stay alive, do your best, snuff out what you can. Those are your orders. Take them or leave them. Or I suppose I can answer questions. I didn't mean to be I didn't mean to have a lot of gravity about that, but, you know.
You know, it'd be helpful if you told us who the scout is, you know?
Oh, certainly. Hostius. It's a Minotaur member of our order. I would think with the population of Lymeria would stand out quite a bit, head and shoulders above some of the others. Black fur, eldritch runes carved into his bull horns, golden rings about them. Big feather, as I remember right. He's been there for quite some time. And I have a ship set up for you as well, so you don't have to swim there, being as it is on the other side of the world.
What's the travel time, roughly?
Excellent question. Travel time is going to be pretty significant from where you are. So you all are located in the Sea of the Broken Bridge, which is that southwestern, not totally southwest, but you are going to be, let's see, 18. Oh, no. Kind of wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Just about 16 and a half weeks. So that is 165 days. Yeah.
Damn.
100, yes. Significant travel time. That is one of the things about Tamaris. Every one of the squares that you see is a 10-day, is a week of travel. And that is about as close as you could get going through all the islands and everything. And that's with a standard ship. It might be that the ship that you have has upgrades to make that faster. But typically what I like to do with that is, because you're all on our ship for quite some time, that is a time to build skills and or research things. You can always train to do stuff and gain proficiencies or languages, things like that, as long as you are finding a way to train.
I mean, that sounds straightforward, I guess. Go to the island, stop the Starfall Communion, bada bing, bada boom, get out of there, right?
Find them, determine what they're doing.
Right.
Stop them.
Stop them from doing what they're doing, because fuck the Starfall Communion. Oh, that reminds me, I probably should turn in that report. Anyway.
Prevent the doom.
Yeah. Prevent the doom.
You all will be sailing out tomorrow on the Halcyon.
Great. Well, it's a good thing I didn't unpack.
It is a good thing. Silver lining. Well done, Fia. Yeah. Say your goodbyes, make your preparations, sleep well. Don't die.
5 of us, though.
I don't even want to talk about it. 5.
Don't think I've ever worked with a group this big before, but it's always time to do new things, I suppose.
Vander pushes his way from the table. Nobody's ever gone with a group this big before. 5. 5's not a number we work with. Never had 5 before. He's just like dawdling off towards one of the back rooms. 5. I have no 3. I like 3. I don't like 5. Don't like it. Bad luck.
How do you feel about 4?
Hate it. It's not as bad as 5, but it's not great. At least you can pair that up. You can split them in 2. Don't like 5.
Oh, you're thinking about calling out of this one?
Not quite. Just wanted to know how bad it was.
Good, because despite what I said, you are a decent fighter, so, I suppose working with you won't be that bad.
Okay. So with essentially the rest of this day, what would you all like to do to prepare for your travels, if anything?
What's the supply situation here? Do you get to tell people, oh hey, I've got a job, can I requisition some potions, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah. There is essentially a quartermaster who has standard supplies, nothing inherently magical. The kind of vibe for the Harbingers is if you find magical out in the field, feel free to keep it. Or you can sell it and it goes in the donation bin. It doesn't stay there for long. Typically, the Sawbones will give you a handful of health potions if you are leaving. Typically, it's 1 health potion for everybody and 1 vial of poison for everybody. But otherwise, yes, if you are looking for standard weapons, standard armor, which includes everything half plate and below, the weapon or the armorer isn't really making full plate for everybody out there. But yes, you may supply yourself with anything that is standard equipment.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And this ship will also have things as well. So if you're looking for rope change, a ship will always have standard supplies.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, I'll just go around real quick. It's okay to say there's nothing except for just getting rest. But Gena, is there anything Saskia wanted to do before leaving?
Could I do real quick? Could I cast I'm going to do 2 castings of Cure Wounds into my Ring of Spell Storing.
Sure.
And before I get any rest, then that's it.
You got
that's
it. Okay. Rack, anything Croak wants to do?
Croak would probably just also just visit the quartermaster, stock up on supplies, make sure his weapons are in good shape, stock on arrows, rations, all that. Maybe replenish his thieves' tools if he needs to.
Okay. All right. Yeah, LD. Anything?
I would report what I learned from my trip to the stars with Acacia to one of the Harrowspecs. Probably not Evander, because he seems a little baffled by other things, but a different one. Whoever had sort of sent me out in the first place.
Sure.
Because it's information that I feel like is the Harbingers need to know, but Via has no idea how to sort of interpret it herself. Leave that to the bookworms. And probably do a little laundry. And not that she has much, but she does have, probably needs to be cleaned. And yeah, probably just spend time sort of communing with the Morrigan or sort of reaching out and just kind of connecting in, ritual and things with the Morrigan.
Okay, go ahead and give me a religion check.
Oh, okie dokie. Trying to find, where are you? Oh, good. Okay, great. 16.
Okay.
Not bad.
What is your reconnection look like with the Morgan?
I would probably find a more, I'm sure there's lots of little altar-y kind of places around here, outside of the big ones. And I would connect in the way that I always have, in the way that I was taught to, and just do so cliche, but a palm slash to leave 3 drops of blood in the altar. And I think it would be outside if there's one that's outside specifically. And I don't know what I'm looking for exactly. I think it's just to feel like to see that if I feel like she's there, and like it's all very quiet and contemplative outside of the initial sort of violence. And yeah, and if there's any like images that I can get or glean about what's to come, I think is where it's mostly to feel that she's there, but maybe hoping for something extra like that. Just quiet and focusing and meditating.
Yeah, there is an alcove protected from the rain that has an altar where you can make your sacrifice to. And there's a few candles in there, which, as you're kind of waiting for a sign, just snuff. Might have been the wind. It doesn't feel overtly supernatural, unless you desperately want to read into it. But you don't get the feeling that she's here with you at this moment.
Shit. Okay. That's not bad. And this is what we're doing basically to prepare for the rest of the day, or until the next morning, essentially.
Correct. Until you all are set to leave.
So there's one more thing I'd love to do, and that's when it gets super dark out and it's night, I would love to go and knock on what I know to be Desidee's door.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm probably there.
Hello? Are you gonna let me in?
Hold on, I'm dealing with this giant stick up my ass. I'll get there in a minute.
Oh, you can't still be mad about that. I'm sorry.
I'll open the door.
It was just too easy.
I know.
Shall I make it up to you?
I think you shall.
Okay.
Desidee, before that, and our surprisingly first episode Fade to Black, is there anything you wanted to do to prepare?
There is, actually. What is the deal with how fast can letters move? Specifically, I have a history of piracy. Vymeria is in at least pirate-adjacent territory. I want to see if I can get a letter out ahead of us to let any contacts I might know in the area, hey, I'll be in the area doing stuff, just as like a precaution, an alert, a just kind of like I might have people out here. Let's see what I can do with it.
Yeah, it's Jomaro's. It's all pirate water.
Hmm.
The speed of a letter depends on how you are sending it.
Hmm.
If you were sending it by boat, it's going to go as fast as that boat.
Hmm.
If you're sending it by bird, perhaps faster. Yet there are some pretty big stretches in between, like through
Hmm.
animal messenger or something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, sending spell obviously
Hmm.
going to be the fastest, but yeah, there's no hippocampus express here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, unless you know somebody who is going that way or through like a teleportation circle, something like that.
Hmm.
But if you had a teleportation circle that went there, you wouldn't be taking the boat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you could absolutely try to find a merchant ship, send it to one of the nearby villages which actually have merchant ships, and see if it could get passed along fast enough to reach before you.
Yeah, then that's what I would try. Just like any kind of contact or anything like that, if from the piracy times, I will pass that along.
Did you take
Um,
the sailor or pirate background?
I did. I took it as a variant of like criminal, but yes, it's pirate.
Sure. Okay. Then yes, I will say that you are able to pass along the right code word,
Hmm.
go to the right person,
Hmm.
and maybe not even have to palm a gold
Yeah.
to get that message to go. And at least has a day's advance
Hmm.
of your travels.
Yeah. The other thing I will do, in addition to like all of the things a good harbinger would do as far as preparation of gathering supplies, getting your, stuff in order, is another letter, this time not nearly as like I care about speed or anything like that, but to any contacts I have among the surface drow, just to like let them know and in turn let the underground know, hey, I'm going away for a while and I will not be a useful contact on the surface for a bit.
Fair enough. Okay. Um, yes, that also gets passed along through your network.
And
Or was web network for that one.
yes, and I'm good aside from that.
Cool. Anubia, anything you would like to do to prepare?
I think she'd probably most likely go to the quartermaster, get some makers, make sure that she's prepared supply wise. I think after that she might go to the smithy and ask ask them to kind of refine, to I guess maintain one of her weapons. A bit of a special weapon, so she wants to make sure it's especially prepared. It's going to be her short sword, or rather her kopesh.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, the smithy is a small black and gold kobold named Smackdown, and look up at you with their hammer. So what have I done?
Pulls off the kopesh. Need you to keep this and maintain it. Just keep it as sharp as possible, basically. I'm about to head on a job soon. I need to make sure it's ready.
Okay, pick it up. It's almost like as big as them. They're like tilting it back and forth. Yeah, all right, I'll give you another edge on this. That'll be real nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't tell me how to do my job, and I'll tell you to wipe your ass.
Whatever.
And the kobold goes to sharpen the blade, hone it. They will have it ready for you in the morning. All right. As we end our day and prepare for the morning when the Halcyon arrives, we're going to go ahead and take our break. So we will be back in 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you to those of you who have already donated. It's very much appreciated. Should you be willing and able, both those things are important to donate. Do check out the Tiltify link in chat, and you can impact this game and future games as well. So stick around, do the things, pet your pets, and we'll be back in about 10 to 15. Vast and welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Harbingers, Horizon's Call game. Let's jump back into stuff. You all wake up the next morning in your, or perhaps someone else's quarters, and This maybe is a morning where a knock comes to your door to alert you that the ship has arrived and is waiting for all of you. It might even be before dawn, like just as the sun is cresting over the horizon. It is likely an early morning for a lot of you. And yet, the knock comes all the same. If you were to open your door, there would be no one on the other side. And yet it is loud enough to wake you up, and you know what that means. It means the ship is waiting. So, presume you all go down to the ship. Is there anywhere else? Well, also, Anubia, you get your blade back. Is there anywhere anyone is stopping before they leave Black Moon Hall? Okay.
I would just do a very quick, easy breezy, like I'm off by mom sort of situation before heading down. But that's it.
She was already on her way to you, and meeting in the hall. She spreads her wings and puts her arms out to give you a hug, and wraps her wings around you as she does. I've said this more times than any mother has any right to say, but you damn well better come back to me, you understand?
And I've said the same thing to you more times than a daughter ever should. I will, and I'll take good care of the other one too.
But can't even tell you the last time Croak has been out. He needs this. You both do. We all need this, but I need you two to come back.
Don't I always?
Always a little bit different every time.
Stop it. I'll be fine. We'll be fine. We've got each other. And, you know, Anubia is an excellent fighter, you know that. Desiree, it's fine, I suppose. And Saskia's got more
Fine,
skill.
you suppose.
She's... Yeah, it's fine. Desiree is a good fighter. And Saskia is probably the most skilled out of all of us. We'll be fine.
Go on then. Watch each other's backs.
All right.
And she stands in the hall until you are out of sight. And finally just walks back, unsure of what to do with the rest of her day. The ship does not come into the canyon that the hull rests. It's far too dangerous for that. The sharp rocks are far too large. The canyon is too narrow. If a ship got in, it would never get out. It's one of the better defenses of Black Moon Hall. So you know that a port is a little journey away. It's the nearest town to where you are. It's where you get your resupply. Decent walk, far enough walk that the local children will sometimes try to stop by because the hall is haunted, but far enough away that it doesn't happen every night. They really have to like plan that one out. It only really happens on like Omen Howl and things like that. The scarier holidays. So you make your journey. The rain has stopped, and yet it's still an overcast day. The sun just barely creeping out when it can through the clouds. And through the wet grass, you take the path to town. It's a small fishing village, sitting a little bit lower, where the town actually reaches the coast, whereas the higher rocks up on the cliffs is where the hull resides. And you travel into the village, and as always happens, whispers all about the village people. Nope. The people in the village looking about at harbingers. Folk who are said to bring bad omens with them, bad tidings. Those who are said to always be near when bad things happen. They have seen so many of your number pass through their village, and yet always there are whispers about where you're going, what you're doing, who you're going to kill, what dark things are going to follow in your footsteps. The port is well occupied at this point. Fishing trawlers are just preparing to go out at this point in the morning. Some are just coming back, those that have been out for a night and have a full catch. A few merchant vessels as well. And yet your vessel stands stands above and out from all of them. It is a sizable sailing vessel, darker oak wood that has been stained. There is a chimera, golden chimera figurehead on the front, reaching out with its 3 heads and its terrible claws and the wings spread mightily wide, and blazoned on the side, the Halcyon. And its furled red sails stand out especially from the other white cloth. But you can see that it is supplying, as there is a boardwalk connecting it to the pier. Anything you all would like to do before boarding? Okay. Standing at the foot of the boardwalk, before you were to reach the ship itself, is a very large Goliath man. He has the natural dark markings of a Goliath around his eyes, around his chin, almost like tribal tattoos that just are inherent stripes to his people. They come naturally. He is wearing a vest, no sleeves, no shirt beneath, letting the markings just continue on his chest and downwards. A necklace that has a variety of teeth, both animalistic and some upsettingly not as animalistic, all adorning his neck. Large iron gauntlets and simple sailor's trousers. His arms are crossed as he watches the other sailors of the ship load and unload goods. And as he sees you all arrive, his eyes narrow a little bit and his arms go to his side, his hands on his hips. So, you are them then?
We are them.
And you might be?
I am Tall Joe. I am first mate of this fine ship, the Halcyon.
Tall Joe indeed. It is a pleasure to meet you.
The captain of this mighty vessel is Captain Zara Alzarka.
Oh no.
Finest captain to have ever sailed these many seas. You will answer to her while you are aboard this ship. You will do as she says. I do not care where you come from, who you are, who you answer to when you are on land. When you are at sea, you are hers. Am I clear?
Do as she says.
I like this one. The good part, Ben. Yes. You may board whenever you are ready. Quarters have been made for all of you. They might be a bit cramped, but such is the way of the sea.
Well, thank you for your hospitality. I suppose it would be good to make the acquaintance of our captain first.
That will be arranged later. She has many things to work on now.
Right, silly me, of course. And then I suppose our rooms first, and maybe a little tour of your fine ship here.
Yes, well, the quartermaster will meet you on the ship. He will show you to your quarters. Part of her job. And as you all clank, some more silently than others, up the wooden boardwalk and onto the ship, you can see that it is staffed by a variety of peoples. There are dwarves, there are humans, there are hobgoblins, a couple of elves, half-elves as well. Not a lot of the smaller folk do you see about. There's like one halfling, dwarves still being considered the medium folk. So Tall Joe especially standing head and shoulders above the rest. However, there is one more unique individual, a sapphire dragonborn, who approaches you all. Hello. Are you all are they, them? Yes. Yes, all right. My name is Azrin. I am the quartermaster of this fine vessel. I will show you to your rooms, and should you need anything while you're aboard, you would come to me, and I will happily address your needs as appropriate. And she turns on her heel, letting her tail kind of like flick wildly, and leads you towards the quarterdeck. And as she opens the door, you find that it kind of splits into two different hallways. There's two doors on either side. Either room may be appropriate for, well, I didn't expect 5. We were told...
We didn't either.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well. Well, the rooms are equipped for 2 each. So we can get a bedroll for one of you. Unless any of you are sharing beds, not my business. Or if any of you would like to sleep on the deck.
Oh, I tend to be very comfortable in the crow's nest, actually.
Oh, that works out. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Then we will put some padding up there, I suppose. And the rest of you, please make use of the beds and the desk and a window. I'm sorry it's small. Welcome aboard the Halcyon. We hope that your journey is safe and non-perilous. But, you know.
Is there anything that we can be helpful with while we're on the ship? I often find that it makes the crew a little easier if we tend to, make ourselves useful on these things.
Well, I can give you all a little tour, and if there's something that piques your interest, certainly. So this is the quarter deck, at least the lower quarter deck. Above, you'll find the stern. And she goes to, just walking outwards, expecting you all to follow. She does not turn around. This is the mizzenmast, the mainmast, the foremast. That there is the forecastle. Up there you will find the helm, where the captain will typically man the wheel. Woman the wheel. Her captain's quarters are below, along with the officers' quarters, which are off to the right as you are looking off to the port. Her quarters are to the starboard. Those are left and right as you're looking to the front of the ship.
I think a few of us have been on ships before. I mean, just...
Of course, yes. I will cease with the explanations.
Just,
below decks?
Where the important stuff is.
Certainly. Below decks is primarily crew quarters. However, we also have our surgeon below, Mr. Sawbones, and we also have our mess hall. So our cook is there as well, Mr. Brassbender. And below decks, or lower decks, that is where our supplies are. Should you wish to assist Mr. Brassbender in the kitchen? I would ask. Should you wish to assist Mr. Sawbones? Again, I would ask, though he is not the most talkative. And otherwise, the ship is always in need of something, whether you are mopping or binding rope or fixing nets. If you like to fish, we could always use more fish. There's plenty of things to keep yourself busy with. Even if you find yourself musically inclined, you could keep the crew entertained in that fashion. Otherwise, we have a deck of cards and some dragon chess. And... You could look at clouds and tell other people what you see in them.
Could I, real quick, while she was showing us around, I have 10 feet of blind sight because of the paladin fighting style I have. Does everything visually match, the footprint, does whatever I perceive, with my blind sight, visually match the footprint of everything that looks here? Is there anything they've hidden?
Yeah, I don't think you're getting any, any magical vibes to it. I think you do pick up on a couple of like hollow spaces. Um, it is common, I should say, that the Harbingers will hire out ships that aren't otherwise engaged in any sort of official commerce. I think you would reason that this is likely a ship that could engage in smuggling efforts, and perhaps has been built to do so, though you don't feel like they have necessarily anything right now.
Okay. Nothing to worry about.
And I haven't heard. Have I heard of this ship before? Am I familiar with anybody on it? Like, with as much as I've traveled around.
Give me a history check.
Okie dokie. How's a 4 sound?
I think you think the name Halcyon is a cool name for a ship. Although, as much as any ship wants to have a reputation, and every ship's captain will say that they are the best to have ever sailed these many seas.
Of course.
You're not picking up anything that you particularly remember. You don't recognize any faces around here. They might have been hired out before and maybe recognize the name for that. Didn't sink. That's good news.
Hey.
Okay.
I do a lot of ship hopping. Don't remember everything.
That's right. Okay. So, with your quarters provided to you, with a brief tour given, Azrin looks to all of you as after the brief tour ends. Again, should you need anything at all, please let me know. As I have been made aware, the captain will have you dine with her this evening, as is customary for guests of your renown. And I hope we have a pleasant voyage, it being 165-ish days. We are looking to cut time. If we can cut a couple of weeks, we will do so, if we can catch a proper wind. We do have a particularly swift vessel, which is always nice, but some of the waters we're sailing through are tumultuous at this time.
Good to know. Well, thank you for your hospitality, and I hope that our being here doesn't impact the crew, make them nervous, in any way. We're just trying to get from point A to point B.
Uh-huh. Such is the way of things. We have had much more dangerous cargo than yourselves.
I'm not sure about that, but all right.
Okay. Well, I have matters to attend to, and yes. Safe journeys. Okay. So the morning goes on for about another hour before the ropes are loosed and the ship returns to the sea, coming out of the bay and finally unfurling its sails and beginning your journey. What are you all... What is the vibe that we're kind of getting as we begin this journey? I guess, is there anything you would like to do aboard this ship? Are there any tasks you wanted to do? Is there anything you wanted to achieve? Or are there any proficiencies you would like to work on earning by training at a skill?
I would like to check in with the surgeon, Mr. Sawbones, for a hot second, just to see if there is anything to be done.
Okay. Fantastic. So you go below decks to the surgical office, the medical bay. The door is closed, And were you to knock on it, you would hear on the other side a rattling of sorts, and the door would open to a well-lit lantern lit room. Couple of tables, essentially they're laid out with shelves all around, glass and wood cabinets that have potions and medical supplies, and drawers beneath that you are likely stocked as well. But the individual that opens the door is a skeleton, dressed in some common clothes with a leather apron. And as this bone face just leans out, the jaw just kind of opens a little bit and opens the door wider, waves you to come in.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh, we're both going to be talking like this. It's above table. I didn't say. She didn't say that.
Yeah, I really like your vibe.
Hi. Would you mind if I smoke? Given.
Not gonna hurt me. No
Yeah,
lungs.
I'm with the Harbingers that you've picked up this morning, and I'm also of a medical persuasion, and I'm just wondering if you'd need any of my help. Just
God's willing, no. What? Shit happens.
Shit happens, and just
How
to
good
make
are your
sure.
amputations?
Oh, I'm delightful.
Good.
Not have to worry about that. For the record, she doesn't have her glaive on her right now, but she does have a pair of hand axes.
Fantastic.
So yeah, the glaive is too heavy to be. That's left in her room. She's not carrying that around. So just a bit of a social visit, and I hope your bedside manner is nicer than mine is.
I mean, I always leave a cold side of the bed.
Well, it's been lovely meeting you. Just scoping things out.
Yeah, you need anything. Come on by. Books, conversation, needles.
I will head out. It's just literally a social call. And if anybody needs this is just a random, if anybody needs anything mended, I will also offer to do that as a general whatever. I have a cantrip for that.
Yeah, mending comes in that's the handiest spell to have aboard a ship. Anytime.
Yeah.
Oh no, this rope broke. No, it didn't.
Yeah,
oh, this chain? No, it's fine.
I will just be offering to do that, and that's what's that?
All right. Anyone else, or we can cut to the dinner that evening, and we can kind of discuss what you might be doing aboard the ship for well over 100 days after that.
I have one thing I would like to do real quick.
Okay.
I would like to go towards. Forgive me, I don't know fucking ship parts.
Hey, I didn't either until I did this
I
bullshit.
don't know the
Yeah, you're fine.
vocabulary of this. Is it the stern that's like the back of the ship?
The bow.
Okay. I will go to the back of the ship and find some railing or some thing that's not moving. I'm going to tie a rope around that to secure it to the ship. And then I will take a small fist-sized object with 8 protrusions from it. Just fucking chuck it off the back of the ship. If anyone asks what I'm doing, I say it's good luck and protection from sea monsters. And I leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
I would like to signal anyone potentially watching from below not to mess with us.
You got it. Okay. Your particular beacon is recognized. I hadn't had that in mind, but that's a good thought. That's a good thought to have. Yeah, it's a mind your business beacon. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Anything else anybody want to do before dinner? Okay. So, evening arrives. The day goes both like eternally slow and surprisingly quick, depending on how active you particularly are. Time on a ship is odd, especially because you feel like you're in movement even though you're not moving anywhere. And the change of the day seems to come as you're constantly moving. The change in weather is significant as you pass a single day. But night arrives, the cloud cover has long since left you, and the stars are above as the sailors begin to just relax for their evening. Um, Nevertheless, Tall Joe comes to you all and escorts you to the captain's quarters. The captain will happily have you all as guests for her dinner. I have to be careful about the way that I say that, because if I say she will have you for dinner, people get really suspicious about that. I think it's the accent.
Well, I'm good either way, frankly, but not everyone's into that.
Okay. He opens the captain's quarters, and inside is what you presume to be the war table, which has been cleared. Chairs have been placed around it, and a rather decent feast has been laid out. They had just been in port, which means they got all the food that's gonna spoil anyways. They're gonna eat it now. And a chandelier hangs that provides light. You can see that there is a curtained off area, which you presume to be the bed. There is a proper captain's desk and captain's chair, which is set off a little bit, almost in a. There's not a door, but it's almost like a side room that has bookshelves in this W shape, where the center point of the W would be an entrance to that secondary area. You can see a large window behind. There are many windows in this for this room, this captain's quarters, to provide lantern light as well, which is coming from outside. And sitting at the head of this long table, as she stands as you all enter, is a darker skinned human woman. She has darker makeup around her eyes with some blue paint streaks as well, which seem to cross over her nose and her cheekbones. War paint kind of vibe, although perhaps this is more of a cultural thing that you may not be familiar with. She has dark hair, which is pulled back, and this very decadent, elegant captain's coat with all this gold filigree kind of inlaid into it. And she puts out her arms a little bit as you come in. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. I am Captain Zara. You all have been welcome to the Halcyon nonetheless, but let me as captain welcome you to my fine vessel. I like to think of myself as an apt captain, although there will be others, and she looks at Tall Joe, who claim that I am more than that. Please, join me for dinner. It has been a long time since I have been able to feast with others.
This is a lovely ship you have here, Captain, and it is quite the honor to be here.
It's an honor to have so many members of your esteemed order. What brings so many of you so far east? If that is something you can tell me.
Oh, just the usual sort of harbinger business, I would say, right?
Someone said so.
Sounds about right.
Very well.
Battlefields, ominous things in the wind, mysterious things. The usual. Have you traveled with us before? Or have you had a harbinger on board before?
I have been hired out by the Harbingers 3 times. Short trips for most of them. A bit of a longer one to Axia once, but always just a single member on board. My crew, fortunately, got used to it. They said we were doomed to sink the second we brought one of you on board, but they were wrong.
That's a pretty typical reaction. But
I mean,
But I'm
it's not like
glad
any of you have ever been on a ship that has sunk before, right?
I wouldn't say that.
The less we say about that, the better.
I am kidding. It is the way of things. And you are welcome to keep your secrets, but I will let you know that while you are on my vessel, I will expect you all to be professional. Please keep your hands to themselves. Your eyes may wander where they want, but my sailors need to be focused. If you would like to help us in any way, the help is always appreciated. I will not pay you. Should we come into combat of any sort, I expect you to stand in defense. I will do my best to defend your lives, and I would hope that you would do the same, though I appreciate that I have not earned that necessary honor from the Harbingers. Otherwise, you are welcome to all of the amenities that any sailor is typically expected to have. Not my officers, but you have free reign of the ship. Break any of my rules, and I will send you to the brig or worse.
keeping our hands to ourselves, noted. You're a woman of high standards, and I like that very much.
She like gives
Fia
you
totally
a look.
winks
Yeah.
too.
yeah. There's a look. I will do my best to make your journey as swift as possible. But I believe Azan informed you that some of our navigations will take us into rougher waters. Fortunately, I have received word that there has not been any Kraken sightings along our journey in quite some time. However, Gondola has been proving to be a unpredictable coastline, and we cannot afford any more time for this particular journey to avoid it.
The faster the better, truly. So, and with as many of us as there are on board, I'm sure even the dangerous spots will be no problem.
I hope so. Well, eat, please. If you are feeling as generous to share your information with me, I would love to hear all of your stories. If not, you are welcome to keep your secrets.
Oh, I'm sure there's a few stories here and there that we can share. Maybe some of our more daring adventures.
Is there anything you all would like to know from Captain Zara? Is there anything that you would like to share with her? Otherwise, we can just cut there and say that stories are appropriately shared.
I mean, I don't know that there's anything that I need to know necessarily, but I'd ask about like what everyone's most dangerous creature that they've come up against, the kind of stuff that they like Fia would have when she's in the Harbinger hole would have asked, what, but because she wasn't there very long, didn't get a chance to like hear all of the exciting adventures that everybody else has been on.
Okay. Well, let's go around. You all are level 8. You would have reasonably fought something a bit heavier to reach that. So, Saskia, what do you think? Gena, what do you think the biggest monster that Saskia has ever fought is?
Oh man, I don't even know if she wants to be talking about it.
That's fine. If you,
She's a very level look until we move on. She's not a very talkative type. It's very like,
Fair enough. Croak, would Croak have any significant monsters in his tally book?
I think Croak would open his beak, and the spectral ravens that have like kind of settled around the room would start letting out these screams of what sounds like people, like death rattles.
Oh,
Good. That's
yeah. Like Big Joe is still in. Tall Joe is still in the room. He's like doling out the wine. Pouring the wine when necessary. A few of the crows have just landed on him. And even he just looks. He goes, "Ooh, "It's okay. Moving on. No more questions for that one."
Oh, doesn't Croak tell the best stories?
They do have a certain flair to them.
What about you, Thea? What is the biggest, baddest monster that you have ever fought?
Oh, well, there was this one time, actually, this was pretty recent, when we came up against, it was a group and we came up against these storm giants. One of whom wasn't really a storm giant, and then and there was lightning flashing all around, and one of them brought a dead giant back to life. Actually, it might have been the same one. And I'd go on and recount the whole story of the storm giants, frankly.
Okay. Yeah.
But without going into some of why we were there, just describing the entire fight. That you might have seen on stream here before.
Zara's eyes then turn to Desade. Do you want to follow that?
I'm afraid it won't be quite as impressive. I'm not as well equipped for fighting single large creatures, and I will go on to tell a story about fighting off a relatively large amount of individually unimpressive humanoid type foes, probably as some kind of harbinger mission against the Starfall Communion. And I will keep describing working with a friend that I know very well and fighting with this friend. It's just my shadow double that I don't want to go into the description of that, so I just prefer to fighting with a friend and defeating these multiple foes.
Beautiful. Anubia, any big battles you want to share?
I don't know if I would call it big, but I did have to go through a trial by combat once.
Interesting. I have heard a little bit about Anubites.
Yes. Nubite is technically correct.
That's kind of correct.
And we call ourselves Kenras.
I understand.
Nubite is perfectly fine anyway.
And you fought to another one of your kind to...
Yes, this was a, how would you call it? A sort of graduation ritual, I guess you might call it. Where I was raised, we were taught the ways of combat from very early on. This was a sort of final test to see if you were worthy enough to go out into the world. Obviously I passed, but that didn't mean the battle was easy, and she'll point to a few scars running down both her arms and her legs as sort of proof as to how difficult the battle was. As you can see, I did not come out quite unscathed.
Yeah, no, I never realized you had to go through all that.
When you're raised as I am, it's not something you typically think about, but I can see how it might be shocking or surprising or interesting to those who haven't heard about it before.
It's interesting for sure. No wonder you're as tough as you are.
Well, we had a nickname for ourselves when we were growing up. We called ourselves the Living Weapons for a reason.
Huh. Well, that is proper scary. I've seen you train before, admittedly not often, but I'm excited to see you out in real battle.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it does, rest assured that I'm well prepared.
In this line of work, You can be sure of it. Hopefully not while we're on the ship, mind you, Captain. Hoping for safe travels, but when we get where we're going.
As far as myself, I once fought off some Sahuagin.
Who hasn't?
A few of the bigger ones, though, but typically I am very lucky that Tall Joe has been more than enough to fight anything before they can get to me. And he just kind of looks down at his necklace and he goes, Winter Shark, Aboleth, Tall Sahuagin, Ogre, Hill Giant, a guy named David, Juvenile Green Dragon, Drunken Dwarf, just a few. I promise that I will do as best as I can to give you all as safe a journey as possible, but sometimes things just get complicated. The night goes on. Dinner ends. Is there anything you all wanted to do before and ending the evening and returning to your quarters?
Can I catch a Nubia for a quick second?
Yeah. I will say that yes, you all go to leave, and you Desiree would be able to pull Anubia aside.
Mm-hmm. Anubia, can we have a quick chat somewhere quiet for a minute?
Sure.
And I will just like go into one of our quarters or just like anywhere that's like relatively out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't mean to impugn your social graces, but I just want to make sure that the discussion we had about my previous work doesn't come up again while we're on this ship. It's a thorny topic that most sailors are understandably not happy about.
Yes. Don't worry. Your secret's
Again.
with me.
Thank you kindly. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
On the way out, I will note that the captain does reach for Fia's hand.
Ooh.
Sure.
Okay. She pulls you in and closes the door, and the last thing before we cut this scene is she says, I said that you had to keep your hands to yourself. I said nothing about me.
I like a woman who knows what she wants.
One of the spectral ravens in the room just lets out a loud wolf whistle.
Just one bird left behind.
Yep.
Truly, I love that.
The journey continues. We're kind of just gonna, cut a lot of space into a little bit of space here. So, as we go around, and we are cutting through the ocean, and I will move our little ship icon along on the map that y'all can see, cutting through the broken bridge and cresting around some of the southern points of Ivornis, heading towards the Three Sisters, which is that little three belt right there. Heading towards Gondala. What have you all been up to along these several weeks? That's almost 6 weeks. So I'll just go on. It's okay to say no. If nothing has been up, if you've just been killing time. But Saskia, anything that you have been, obviously you said you were mending, you've been helping sailors kind of like in case stuff gets broken, little boo-boos, stuff like that as well. Injuries happen at sea. But anything aside from that?
Not that I would know of. She's not very good at looking at things. She's not very helpful aside from mending and doing boo-boos. She's not a big sailor type, really.
Still helpful to have aboard.
Yep.
Okay. Croak.
Croak would spend a lot of time either in the crow's nest or walking around the riggings, just like keeping elevated off of the deck, getting like a better eye of what's around them, just keeping an eye out.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check with advantage.
Cool. That is a 23.
Right.
Ooh.
As we're traveling along, especially with your vantage point, you note a number of things. None of them necessarily like points of concern, but you would note them, especially more than like Saskia, who's not particularly perceptive. Pod of dolphins traveling by, a herd of hippocampi swimming by as well. At one point, you're even near a pod of whales, which are like a mile off, but you can see the water spurting up into the air. You can tell when you're closer to land because you do see seagulls and other water birds. And you can tell when you are further out because your birds tend to be completely alone. You spot ships every now and then. You're going through a somewhat well-traveled area, and yet they give your ship enough berth. Any ship with different colored sails is a ship to at least have a question mark about, and yours are blood red. As you crest towards Gondola, however, is I think when eyes start to sharpen, and you see that there are more sailors looking out towards the sides of the ship. As we get around to that, Desert Day, what have you been up to on the ship?
So I, as someone who is like very familiar with sailing and like stuff, I would like to just like get on the deck and just like do miscellaneous like labor that is necessary to do, not in a way that's like conniving or like self-aggrandizing, but definitely in a way that gets me in good with the crew. That's kind of like one of my main purposes for doing this, is just like, be seen participating and cooperating, and then using magic where I can. So like I have the levitate spell that I can do, I have my echo that I can summon and do 2 people's work at one time. So just like being useful where I can in unglamorous ways.
And I think whispers begin when you first start working, especially like if there's cloak involved, anything like that. Sleeveless. I'm getting a lot of Minthara vibes off of this for anyone who's played politics. Yeah, which is to say, hot and scary. So yes, I think there's whispers because you are a drow, a very rarely seen type of person anywhere. And very quickly, however, those whispers turn into sailors that just outright talk to you. Once you get one brave sailor who comes up, what did you learn to do all that?
Yeah, I will in turn like tell stories about like sailing, keeping it very vague. I'm not telling them what I was doing, but like yeah, just like stories about having sailed previously.
Yeah. And I think your affability also like lends towards there being this very quick bond of like, oh, somebody who's capable aboard the ship, somebody that's not like just taking up space, that's a good person. So yes, very quickly you create that bond with sailors. Fia, what would you be up to during the travel?
Normally, Fia's the one hanging out on the crow's nest and probably would end up spending a little time up there, but because Croak sort of has things in hand, she'll sort of leave that to him, I think. Maybe occasionally going out and flying with the swarm of birds.
Sure.
Too, just for funsies, sort of drifting on the wind. And I think when she's not hanging out with the captain, she's probably, I would say, is trying to get like Saskia and Anubia to spar with her.
Sure.
Since they're the two that she doesn't know as well or hasn't like been out on the field with before, get sort of an understanding of what it is that they can do.
Okay. All right. Well, then, Anubia, in addition to potentially sparring with Fia, anything that you might be up to?
I think aside from general kind of helping out on the ship, though not as good as Desiree. Like she doesn't really have as much really experience on a ship. She does her part to kind of help out. But she definitely would take up Fiat's offer to spar for sure.
Excellent.
Because why would she turn down that? Why?
Yeah.
why in the nine hells would she turn down that?
Okay. So potentially a three-way spar, the luckiest spar for Harbinger, a little Triskelion. You find yourselves dueling on the top deck. Some of the sailors, because you're just cruising, literally just sailing. The wind has caught in the sails, and the work has been done. They need a little break, so they're kind of cheering you on. There's bets being placed over onto who might win in this particular sparring match if it comes to a knockdown sort of deal. While the cheering and everything is going on, Croak, still kind of perched above, getting a good eye on both, your pseudo-sisters fight below, but also what lies out beyond. As you are cresting around the southern horn of Gondola, you begin to spot, with your carrying 23 is what we're going to consider, you begin to spot a couple of ships that divert towards yours. They were sailing almost perpendicular away from your ship, kind of 45 degree even. Just a couple of smaller, like fishing vessels is what they look like. These triangular sails on them, which are customary for ships found out of Gondola. But as soon as your ship becomes within eyesight of them, they divert their course and begin heading directly towards yours with a surprising pace. So anything you'd like to do with that information? You're muted, bud.
There we go. Croak is going to let out I don't know what's called. It's like that like stock sailor whistle sound.
Oh, sure. The woo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
and
more
then,
DuckTales, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. That's a sailor sound. That's a sailor whistle in this sound. It's a DuckTales whistle.
Yes, DuckTales. That's it. Life
all
is
of
like a
the,
hurricane.
Yeah. All the spectral ravens are just going to start cawing up a storm, like flapping agitatedly, looking towards the incoming ships.
Okay, so Raven klaxons going off. The duel below. Yeah. Everybody, as I presume, the duel stops at that point. Everybody, go ahead and give me perception checks. This will be a new one for you, Rek.
Oh, goody.
Dirty 20.
Okay.
14.
Also 14.
Did you want
Alex,
from me as well, or
yeah, new one for you, Rek, and Alex, what did you get? If you want to roll, I should say.
Yeah.
And this is perception?
Please.
15 total.
Okay.
I got a nat 20 for 27.
Ooh.
Damn.
Okay. So for those of you with 14s and 15s, you do spot the two ships. These, again, smaller fishing vessels. But I would say the thing that Fia would note, there's no nets, there's no lines. While these are fishing vessels by design, they are not fishing. And you can see that they, from your point of view as well, with your keen eyesight, are well overloaded in terms of how many people should be aboard. Croak, with a 27, you note two things. First of all, those two ships are not full of humans. They are full of gnolls. And second, there is a third ship which is cutting you off in a pincer move.
Ooh.
And as these three ships get closer and closer, and the bell is rung, and the call for pirates is shouted, I'm going to ask you all how you would like to prepare for a pirate attack, and then we'll roll for initiative next session. And this is our complication. This is our first complication. This is a Knoll pirate attack off the coast of Gondala. So going around. Saskia, any preparations you would like to make? I mean, even if you wanted to, like, technically, as they are jumping aboard, you could do something. You could jump aboard their ships. You're not exactly sure how they're going to attack. It could be a number of things. You could also roll to see what you might know about how they would attack. We can also do that.
How much time do I have? Like, how many spells could I cast in the time here?
I'm going to say probably 2 turns. So I will give everybody 2 actions in this time, as you have noted that they're coming close to you. You can get off 2 actions worth of whatever.
Okay, I will cast Aid twice. To cover, I will say everybody in the party. I have okay. Wait, let me read what Aid does first, just so everybody knows. Your spell bolsters your allies with toughness and okay. We don't need flavor text. Choose up to 3 creatures within range. Each target's hit point maximum, and current hit points increase by 5. So whatever your current hit point is, add 5. I will cast it on everybody in the party, myself, and I will say the first mate, because he seems to be the one who's really protecting the captain. I want the captain to be fine, but he seems to be first line of defense there, so I will do it on that. So everybody has plus 5 hit points.
You got it.
And their hit point maximum. That is for the next 8 hours, by the way.
Cool.
And that's just that is your maximum. Like, you now have plus 5 hit points temporarily.
Correct.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Did you have anything of your second action? Any rolls you wanted to make to determine, like...
I cast Aid twice, so that's 2 actions.
Oh, that's 2 actions. You're correct. Yep. Thank you. Croak.
Croak is going to clamber down from the crow's nest so as to not make himself a standout target. I think he's just going to pull out his short bow and get ready to start shooting.
Okay. I will note also that this vessel does have 2 ballista. That's like the only armor. It doesn't have cannons. Cannons are harder to come by at this point in time in Damaris. But there are 2 large ballista if you would like to man either of those. Otherwise, they will be manned by sailors. The big reason I'm not like emphasizing those is because within 2 turns, that's not enough to disable a ship, unless you wanted to aim for crew and maybe take out a decent number of crew. Like I said, you could also do rolls for tactician kind of stuff. So if there's anything any of you want to do for that, feel free to be like, how might they attack? What are we kind of looking at getting into? All that kind of stuff.
You know what? In that case, could I send out some of my swarm to the 2 smaller boats and kind of like hassle the crew to like maybe slow down their approach?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I will make a roll for that. Why don't you go ahead and roll an attack roll for me?
Attack.
Yeah,
what modifier should I add?
Use your spell bonus modifier.
Okay.
Essentially, a spell attack is you are throwing ravens at a ship.
Cool.
Throw them birds, Rack.
That would be an 18 total.
18 total. Okay. Yes, definitely. I think that you send the birds out and you watch as one of the ships, especially as the birds go directly for the captain, seems to turn suddenly, like the captain kind of like leaned on the wheel a little too hard, and it goes to cut off the other ship. They don't necessarily collide, but you get a little bit more time before that one will reach. You're still going to hit the big one in those 2 turns, but the other 2 will take a 3rd turn to get to you. Okay. Who's next? That's Fia. Fia, what would you like to do?
Right.
To prepare?
So we've got the two smaller ships that have the nulls on them, and the third ship that's further out.
The third ship is like the way that the two smaller ships are kind of corralling yours is you are going to almost run into the third ship. They're kind of like coming in together where the two smaller ships might not come alongside. Maybe the larger one will, but they're kind of just they're pushing you into a trap.
I see. I want to. Fia would fly probably about, I'd say 20 feet up in the air at that point. Still staying close to, still mostly above the deck of the Halcyon at the moment. And try and get a better look at the larger ship. And try and see if she can figure out who's sort of leading, or if there's somebody somebody who's clearly leading on the on the larger ship.
Sure. Give me a perception roll with advantage.
Okay. Why did I do this? Oh, that's a 29.
Fantastic. Okay. So a couple things you notice about the larger ship. It is a sailing vessel, much like yours. It also has two ballista, one on the forecastle and one on the quarterdeck, both of which you can tell even from this distance are equipped with harpoons and ropes. So it's kind of they're looking to reel you in. They're not looking to sink you. They do not have cannons. It doesn't seem like they have mortars or catapults or any sort of long distance things like that. This also just seems like a larger fishing vessel that has been reconverted into a pirating vessel. Again, gnolls are the primary beings aboard this ship, and the largest of whom seems to be the captain, which is very clearly to you a gnoll war chief. Just painted in the kind of white dust that they use, which you know is actually bone dust, carrying a rather large, very nasty looking maul, and there's a chant coming up, which is in Gnoll at this point, that I think only Anubia might be able to understand if she was able to hear it.
Well, I think we're gonna have a little fun on our hands, and Fia will draw the whip, and as she does so, it cuts across her back slightly, drawing up a line of blood, and activate the Rite of Flame as as there's like a line of fire as it follows her up her back, down her arm, and through the whip as it covers, and just flame covers the whip.
Cool. Okay.
Yep.
Desade.
All right. So first, definitely manifesting my echo. I assume that's somewhere, but if it's not, now it is. So I just sort of like step forward, and in the place that I was, like there is just this shape of me that is just left standing there. If they are empty, I will just very casually walk over to the ballista and take like a position there. If those are already occupied, I will prepare to fight off anyone who's attempting to board.
Yeah, you can absolutely occupy the ballista if you would like.
And if I have two actions, I don't have a lot of things I can do to prep. What's the range on these bad boys? Can I get off a shot?
You would be able to get off a shot, yes.
Okay. Then I would like to fire off at one of the smaller vessels. I don't know how you do this. My intent would be to attempt to fire it in such a way to force the other boat to take on water. I'm not trying to disable it in one shot, but the intent is to occupy their people by having their boat take on water.
So every type of ship has a certain AC and has a certain number of hit points to the different parts of it. So if you're aiming for the hull, that is absolutely something we can do. Let's see. So first of all, let me get you the ballista stuff. Ballista.
And like obviously I would wait for like confirmation from the captain or from whoever's in charge that we're good to open fire. Like I don't want to go rogue here, but like assuming that we are good to take the shot, that is what I would like to do.
I got you. Yeah. I think it's enough that yes, the all hands to or
Mhm.
yeah. My brain just went, words don't exist anymore. But yes, the call has went out to defend. So yes,
Okay, cool.
you're totally fine to do so. Sure wish D&D Beyond made this a little bit easier, but you know, who am I? Squid ship? No, what the hell is this? Anyway, give me a d20 roll plus your dexterity modifier. That's going to be at least your attack.
Yeah. All right, so d20 just plus my dex is. Oh shit! Can I re-roll that?
Do you have a reroll?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, that's much better. If it's just plus my dex, that's going to be 20 total. If it's plus my attack bonus, it's going to be 23 total. Not sure which one you want to use.
Okay. Either is going to hit. So let's see here. Nope. Maybe? Nope. Yeah, there's 5 things for sailing ship. None of them are actually the sailing ship. There we go. Okay. Yes, you have your ballista. I swear to God. Okay. You definitely hit. Roll me. Let's say I'm gonna say 2d8, and I'm gonna hope that that's close enough.
2d8. All right, rad. That's a d8. That's also a d8. 2d8. 8 total.
Okay. So 8 points of damage as the ballista bolt slams into the hull of one of the fishing vessels. Again, they are not sinking, but it absolutely is taking in water as you watch as the bolt kind of like, as they're traveling, wiggles its way out and water begins to start being taken on. How close was it? It was 3d10. Go ahead and roll 3d10. That's
3d10.
much,
okay.
yeah. We'll consider that the damage. It's still going to be enough for it to take on water, but that is the proper
8.
damage for it.
8.
Okay, still 8. Okay. Well, it was
5, so 21.
21. Okay. All right. So 21 points of damage as the ship now is much more significantly taking on water. Great. So next up, Nubia. Anything that you would like to prep?
She would probably draw her Kopesh. You also mentioned that the gnolls were chanting. How far away are they, and would Anubia be able to hear them?
A couple 100 feet. So if you would like to, you can do a perception check.
I would like to do that.
Okay.
That is a natural 20.
Fantastic. Okay. So picking up just on the wind as the sailors are all kind of like weirdly silent in preparation for this pirate attack. You can kind of hear it just building over as you hear the chant of death, death, death. And it's this you might know, I'm not sure if Anubia is necessarily from Gondala. A lot of Kenra are, but there is a particular death cult in some Gnoll communities, Kenra themselves being an offshoot of Gnolls. And whereas Kenra are more of the peaceful, like ritual-esque side of death, more the grave cleric as opposed to a death cleric, there is a subset of Gnolls that are very much the death cleric side, those that hunt for the bitter end and the hard cold blade to the throat. And as they're chanting death, 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 you are actually I won't tell you how you feel. That I leave that to you, how that might affect Anubia.
She is honestly, she feels somewhat, I don't know, it's a weird sense of like pity and disgust almost. Just like, so how low can you really go, and just if this is what all you seek, really? Just there's so much more out there, and this is not all you should be seeking. But just, it's a shame it had to come to this, but at the end of the day, your choices are your own. Prepare. You must not face the consequences of them.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, as the fishing vessels struggle to corral you properly, struggle to even reach you, the sailing vessel before you careens its hull to come almost like you. At first, you think they're going to slam into you. No ram on the front of this ship. It almost has pieces of metal that are hammered into the side of it as some sort of ramshackle defense. All aboard the top deck of this, like it doesn't even have the forecastle and the quarter deck that are raised like a typical sailing vessel. This one is just almost like a trireme, just flat across the top. There's no railing to this, and you watch as it is just swarming with gnolls at this point. And the sails turn just in enough time for it to come alongside you. And as the hooks and harpoons are thrown alongside and your ships are brought together, that is where we're going to end this week. And we will pick up next week with your initiative rolls and your first encounter with pirates, our first complication. So, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joining us for the premiere of Harbingers, this Horizons Call game. Thank you to my wonderful cast. This will be a 6-week campaign. And these lovely people are well aware that if they ever want to guest in Horizons Call and time permits and all that kind of stuff, they are always more than welcome. They have fantastic characters. I'm going to have them go around and say a little bit about themselves, where you can find more of them even, if they want you to find more of them at all. If not, you're screwed. And then we'll do some channel stuff, and I will let you all go for the night. So, I always, like, my brain just is so fried today. Gena, you are first. If you don't mind going first, where can we find more of your lovely self?
Hello, I'm Gena. You can find me still on Twitter at _GenaThan, Gena, Than, like Jonathan. My rest of the links are there. That is where you can find me. It's all I'm doing right now. This channel.
Very lucky to have you, Gena. Rack, where can we find more of your lovely self? Rack, you good?
Yes. All right. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Rakolai, or Rakolai, or preference how you pronounce it. You can find me on Twitter, at Rakolai. That is RAKO, capital IAI. Proper spelling is already taken. I can't get to it, so I just have to deal with that one. You can find me Blue Sky with the proper spelling. You can also find me right here on Twitch. Normally I stream Sundays, but because I'm on this show, my stream schedule is a little bit changed up right now. If you want to know when I'm going live, follow me on Twitter. That's where you can find me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rack. LD, where can we find more of your lovely self?
Oh, hi, it's me, LD. You can find me everywhere that's important, including still kind of Twitter, but mostly on Blue Sky, and on Twitch at the Lady Dame. There we go. I am a late night variety streamer, mostly, except really not right now. I'm mostly streaming on Mondays over on my own channel. I'm also the co-host of Monster Crush with our wonderful GM Derek over here, where we get to talk about monsters, which I'm sure he'll tell you a little bit about. I am a theater person in real life. I'm trying to remember my whole spiel now. Yeah, that's where you can find me. Stay tuned. I'm unemployed, so who knows what kind of stuff I've got. I know I've got a couple things, at least one other thing to announce at some point when we get our shit figured out, but you know, it's busy and stuff. Yeah, that's me. But if you like TTRPGs and talking about theater, that's... And then I'm here, yeah. Come check us out for, movie nights and things like that. I'm mostly hanging out in the Sword and Key Discord really right now a lot. It's truly what's happening.
I'm very lucky to have so many exclusive, lovely people.
So many, yes.
Thank you, LD.
Yeah.
Next up, Alex.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex. I have taken the wise, measured, and personal decision to not be on social media. So I am here, and that is pretty much it. But nonetheless, I am still very grateful to be on the channel and be hanging out with my fellow Harpies.
Yes. Harbies. I need to make more Barbie puns, I guess. Yes, the most exclusive.
Hi, Harbies.
Yeah. Hi, Harbies. Oh, that hurts my brain. Last, absolutely not least, Abhishek, where can we find more of your lovely self?
Hey everybody, I'm Abhishek. I'm a voice actor who loves talking about tokusatsu, so any Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman fans, feel free to hit me up. You can find me over on Twitter at neon_Raiden. Same thing on Blue Sky, just Neon Raiden, no underscore this time. You can also find me on Instagram over at Abhishek _VO. Everything's in my link tree over there, but you'll find it. But yeah, other than this, I don't have really anything else going on at the moment, except for one thing in the future that I'll announce at some point. But yeah, stay tuned for that.
Fantastic. Thank you again to my wonderful cast. Thank you to you in the audience for joining us, for donating. Again, this game is in support. I brought it up just in case because I know I forget. Entertainment Community Fund. It's been a long day. So thank you for donating as much as you have already. It goes to a great cause. It's very much appreciated. It's important, and you've already done some impactful stuff to this game. I also want to thank my producer Eva, my partner, who has done 2 games with me today. I don't mind doing this to myself, but she's an absolute trooper for doing the production work for this stuff. So special thank you to her. You can't see her, but she's lovely. Yes, I'm Derek Sword. I use he/him pronouns. I have been your GM for this game and for Humblewood and for Horizon's Call and for lots of stuff. I am the sword half of Sword and Key, so this is where I put my work into. If you would like to see more of our stuff, you can do that you can find all of our socials through beacons.ai/sword and key, all one word. Most of our socials are Twitter or Instagram, our Blue Sky, our Sword and Key with underscores, sword_and_key. You can find all of our projects there. You can find the Tiltifies. You can find like the Pally for Horizon's Call. You can find links to our podcast that LD mentioned before, Monster Crush, which is a podcast that she and I do about different cryptid creatures and miscellaneous monsters. It is a pan-romantic, pansexual Pandora's box of monster selections that we all find very sexy. So you can check that out wherever podcasts are found. I don't think I'm going to get the episode out today, but who knows? I might get a second wind. So if it's not going to come out tonight, it's going to come out tomorrow. It is a great episode that we did about the Van Meter visitor, basically a pterodactyl with a laser beam on its head that terrorized Iowa. Again, you can check that out wherever podcasts are found. Download it, leave a review. It's always much appreciated. Upcoming stuff for Sword and Key, which you can find through our Discord as well. You can join, again, our Discord through our beacons. But we have a couple of casting calls out right now, so check those out, especially if you were an author. We are doing some novel adventures. So if you've written a book, that counts. You're an author. If you've read a book, not really, but write something, you know. For upcoming stuff, we have Horizon's Call question and answer, a little Q&A session to mark the beginning of Horizon's Call Season 4, which will be hosted by LD. That is coming up this coming Saturday, the 13th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. You can submit your own questions to be asked. I say hesitantly, knowing that Alex is here. But the form is...
We've already had a question about the sandwich.
All right, well, then it's already too late. So you can submit those questions through our social media. You can also, again, find that on our Discord, and the questions will be asked live on stream, should they be appropriate. We are also doing movie nights every other week on the Discord, so on Fridays. So this Friday the 12th, we will be doing at 6 p.m. Pacific time the movie Impromptu, 1991 movie starring Hugh Grant, Emma Thompson, Judy Davis. I've never seen it before. I'm very excited. It was actually suggested by LD.
It was.
So it's going to be a good time. Humblewood, The Unwelcome Winter will have its finale next week at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday the 14th, followed by the second session of Harbingers. And then Horizon's Call will be back for its proper Season 4 premiere on the 20th, Saturday the 20th, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Monster Crush again releases every other week. Harbingers will be weekly until we reach 6 sessions. Deathmatch Island is going to premiere on the 28th. It is Sunday the 28th at 10 a.m. It will be taking the slot of Humblewood. and that will run for 4 weeks. After which, on the 25th of February, 10 a.m. Pacific time, Trophy Dark will take over for 4 weeks. And then I need to talk to my partner because I think stuff's happening after that, but I don't have it on the calendar. So until all of that happens, check out our social media. Keep an eye on Discord. We'll have more applications out soon for even more stuff. We're hoping to have even more Sword and Teas, which is our interview series with game creators and big names in games. So you can check that out as well when we get those posted. I think that's it for right now. I don't have a sign-off for the Harbingers just yet. So, I don't know. Weird birds. Fair winds, following seas, brave mariners. Take care of yourselves. We will see you all next week for even more Harbinger adventures. Be good.